doing on the homestead today is we're making molasses oatmeal bread, and what you're going to need for that is you're going to need 6 cups of flour, 2 packages of active dry yeast, or 22 milliliters of active yeast, whatever you're using, if you're using a bottle or if you're using packages. We need 1 3/4 of water, which we have right here. We need 1 cup of rolled oat, which we have right there. We need 1/2 of a cup of molasses. Now, if you don't really like the molasses taste, you can reduce it, like I did, to probably about 1/4 of a cup. And you need 1/3 of a cup of shortening. You need 1 tablespoon of salt, as well as 2 eggs. Now, there's also a cover that you can add to the bread, which is 1 beaten egg white and 1 tablespoon of water, and just probably a pinch of rolled oats, and I'll show you how to do that once we continue. So I'm just going to get everything ready. Step in making this molasses oatmeal bread is we're going to take 2 cups of flour, and we're going to put it in here, and then we're going to add it to the yeast that we actually already activated. And if you're not sure how to activate yeast, you can check out my yeast activation video, and I'll put the link in there. So there we have the 2 cups of flour. And I'm just going to bring the yeast over and show you what that looks like when it's activated. There's the yeast activated, so we're going to add that in, and then we're going to combine. And I'm just going to. We're now going to combine it. What your mixture is going to look like once you have your yeast and your flour combined. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take the water, the molasses, the salt, and the pepper, and we're going, and the rolled oats, and we're going to put it in a saucepan. And what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to heat your 1 3/4 of a cup of water. So I'll just bring it back once it's heated. The water cooled down a little bit. We're going to add in our cup of rolled oats, our salt, and as well as our molasses, and as well as our shortening. I'm going to add in the shortening now, and you're just going to want it to be in there long enough to just start to melt the shortening, and then you're going to add it into the mixture of flour and yeast that you already have in your mixer. Just getting the last little bit of molasses out of there. So we're just going to constantly stir it, and the heat from the water will melt it all, and it will blend together very nicely. So I'm just going to bring it back once we're ready to pour it in with the flour mixture. So there's the mixture. As you can see, it's well mixed through, and we're just going to add it in. And I did change my attachment to the dough hook, so I'm just going to start it up and I'll bring it back. We're going to add in our 2 eggs, and now we're going to beat it together. If you're using your dough hook to mix it, you're going to want to take the spatula or whatever you're using and scrape the sides where it will mix in, and keep doing that until the mixture is fully mixed through. And then we're going to start adding in the other flour. We're going to start adding in our other flour, which is 1 cup at a time. What we're going to do with this bowl is we're just going to lightly grease it, and the reason we're doing that is because we're going to put the dough in there to have it rise, and we're going to need to flip it. So we're just going to put the dough in, and I'll bring it back. We just shaped the dough into a ball, so we're going to take it and put it in the bowl, and we're going to flip it once. So it's been on that side. Now we're going to cover it and put it in a warm spot to let it rise. So I'm just going to use this little towel here to cover it. And you want to leave it for at least an hour. We're going to check on it in an hour. I would say an hour and probably 45 minutes would probably be sufficient. So definitely bring it back in an hour and we'll see what it looks like then. So set your timer. And as you can see, our dough has definitely increased in size, so we're going to take it out and we're going to punch it down on a floured surface, so we have that, and then we're going to divide it in half. So I'm just going to take it and put it on the surface and I'll bring it back. The dough now, and we're going to punch it down. And then we're going to divide it in half. And we're going to put it back in the bowl for 10 minutes, as well as this. And we're going to cover them back up for 10 minutes and I'll bring you back. So they're back in bowls, and set your timer. We're going to take the dough that's been resting for 10 minutes and shape it into loaves and put it in the greased, lined with oats pan. So I'll just bring it back. So there's the first one, and we're going to do the second one. And then we're going to cover it and let it rise again for about an hour or so. I'll bring you back. We're just going to cover them up and bring you back in an hour. So we're going to put our oven on 375. An hour has passed, so we're just going to open up the, and that's exactly what we want it to look like. So what we're going to do is we're going to take some egg whites and a tablespoon of water, and we're going to cover it up, and then we're going to sprinkle it with some oats. We're just going to make our coating, which is the egg whites right here, and we have our 1 tablespoon of water. We're going to mix it up, and then we're going to take a brush and we're going to paint the top of the loaves with that. And I have this little brush that I'm going to use, and this is the first loaf. And then we're going to bake it for 45 minutes at 375, and we did preheat the oven. So you're just going to want to coat it. Then we're going to get a spoon, and we're going to take our oats, which are right here, and we're just going to sprinkle lightly. So for the first half hour, we're going to cook it with it open like this. And then for the last 15 minutes, we're going to take it out of the oven, wrap it loosely with tin foil, and then put it back in for the last 15. So we're going to do the same thing to the second loaf, and I'll bring you back just before. They're now ready to put it in the oven. So we're going to bake them for 375 at a half hour. Then take them out and put them in the tin foil and put them back in for 15 minutes. So I'll bring you back in a half hour. I just took the buns out after the first 30 minutes of 375. So I'm going to cover them with tin foil loosely, and I'm going to put them back in for another 15 minutes. I'm wrapped in foil, so we're just going to put them back in for another 15 minutes. Set your timer at 375. And the timer went off, so we're just going to open up our bread and see what remains. And if you have a cooling rack or any kind of system like that, you want to put it on there to cool for sure. And there's one loaf. Looks fantastic. And let's check out the second. And there's the second, and that looks fantastic as well. So I'm just going to take them out and put them on a rack, and I'll bring you back. I have them on a cooling rack, and I just wanted to show you what they look like. So they did look like loaves, and they are loaves. So next I'll show you what they look like cut. So when you cut it, this is what it looks like. So I'm going to throw some butter on there and have a slice of this, and like, subscribe, and enjoy. And it's so warm that it's melting right into the bread.